Welcome to Under the Influence. Ooh. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us again on this episode of Under the Influence. Today we have Courtney Parchman, better known as the average fashion blogger on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. She's a short form content creator and actress who makes hilarious parodies, poking fun at viral trends such as the outfit of the day, Vogue 72 questions, get ready with me videos, and product hauls. She currently has over 36, or oh my God, she currently has over 360,000 Instagram followers, over 500,000 TikTok followers, and has accumulated over 20 million views on her TikTok. I am not good with these numbers.
Oh, you're so fine.
Thanks for joining us today, Courtney. Oh my God, how are you?
I'm so good. I'm really psychology is so exciting to me. And so I was a psych major for a hot second and then I tapped
Oh,
out, but it's really interesting to me.
did you switch majors or did you just stop
Yeah, I
schooling?
switched majors like 6 times and I can't remember what made me pull the plug on psychology. I think if I were to stay in it, I think psychology switched when I wanted to be a summer camp director. And I was like,
Oh,
I don't have to do all this science. I can go like an easier route to get the same result. And
yeah.
so I switched out of it, but
What,
it's fascinating.
what'd you end up studying?
I ended up finishing with, I ended up studying communications,
Mm.
but I ended up finishing with a university studies degree, which means I just studied at a university for 4 years. Not my best, not my finest.
I didn't even know they had those, but I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind
no,
of,
no one really knows in it. I don't encourage it only because it doesn't set you up the best if you're looking for like a career job, not in the entertainment industry. But I kind of
yeah.
knew where I was gonna be heading after college, so I was like, well, it's okay.
Yeah. So you've always wanted to be an actress?
Yeah, I always wanted to be an actor since I was little, but I didn't really pursue it until I would say my junior year of college.
Mm-hmm.
And then not even pursue it, but really be like, I'm actually going to try to do this. And then once I kind of got my head in the space of like, well, like, what's the point of doing something you don't want to do for the rest of
Yeah.
your life? So I was like, okay, I would rather die. I'd rather be like 60 years old, still pursuing like the thing I want to do than have a job that I am not really enjoying. So then it was kind of like, okay, that's the only thing we're doing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that I think about a lot in terms of like the entertainment industry, how so much of your success isn't like it's dependent on like the market and like all these other people versus like if you wanted to be, I don't know, like a psychologist or like an architect or like some other career where like basically getting hired is like being successful, but like being an
Yeah.
actress or like a director, anything entertainment, that's like not at all how it is.
I'm also learning that it's not a field where you ever say like I'm done because like even if I got casted in a movie that I am just like head over heels in love with, I finished the movie, it wraps, it is shown, and then after that I'm like, okay, great. Like I still want to like it never ends. It's like always something.
Yeah.
And then even when I like am the day comes where I'm like, okay, I'm done with acting. I want to produce or like I want to direct, I want to write. Like it is just like a thing that never ends. So it's like you're really in it for the long haul.
Yeah, I heard this I don't know which comedian it was and I'm annoyed that I don't remember, but it was like a joke that's like acting is like one of the only careers that you have to continue proving that you know how to do it. Like you have to keep
Yeah.
going on auditions and like when actors and like these famous actors are like, yeah, I mean like I was unemployed and you don't think of these people being unemployed between
Yeah.
movies, but that's what it is.
Uh-huh. Jenna Fisher in her book, she talks about it a lot and how, because after The Office, she had like a really big lull. And
Mhm.
it's so crazy thinking about like how successful she was. Even she, like after The Office, was like, I can't get anything.
That's crazy. I feel like after, if I
Yeah.
was in a show like that, I mean, I'd be like, I mean, why do I have? I probably have enough money. Like, I,
Well, it sucks because it's like no one, I mean, people are doing it for the money, but like it's like you never are done with it. Like you're
yeah,
always gonna be feeling like you need to be doing something else. It's
yeah,
stupid. It's so it's really just like fighting your brain every day, which is interesting. It's great for this.
yeah. So let's talk about social media. So like I said, you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're on YouTube. Like how would you define your relationship with social media? How often do you use it? Like a day, things like that?
I hate my relationship with social media. I like keep it on a very tight leash because I it can get really bad. To me, social media is work. I'm gonna have the questions pulled up so I can like kind of go through it as I'm talking to you. But my screen time is terrible. Like it is way too high. I'm embarrassed to even say it, but I hate it, and it's like something I'm trying to work on weekly. And I went for like 10 days without social media, and I realized how much of my life I'm wasting on my phone. Like it like freaked me out, like went through a whole thing and I was like, is this even worth it to me to like continue being on social media when I'm like really like killing this huge part? Like it's any situation I'm in, I'm constantly like, how can I turn this into a bit? How can it never dies in your head? And so like when I got to like be with my friends and just be with my friends and not be thinking about like, what did someone DM me? Like, are people saying something about me? Like all of those like noises in my head just were finally quiet. I was like, this is a feeling I haven't felt in like 4 years. So it was just kind of, I like started to see how bad social media is in my life.
Yeah, that came
Crazy thing.
after you took that break and you realized like the difference in between being
Mhm.
online and actually being offline.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a similar thing with I took like 2 weeks off because it was more like I had a lot of stuff to do and I was like wasting time on it. And then when I
Yeah.
returned within like the first 10 minutes, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I can feel all these different emotions that I didn't feel in these past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, just like negative emotions. Like I'd be like jealous or I would feel like insecure. And there was no reason for me to feel those things in the 2 weeks where I was off. And then within 10 minutes, I was like flooded with them. And I was like, I gotta go. I can't do
Yeah,
this.
it's crazy. But then also when you're off of it, you also are finally like resting in those emotions that you've been avoiding for I think like the first thing that I remember being like, this is crazy was like I just had like a flashback, like one of those memories that you just like are like that hurt you physically because you're like, that was so embarrassing. I can't believe that happened. And then I like didn't have my phone to go onto to like distract me from that. And I had to
Mm.
sit in it and like remember it. And I kept it, like yeah, I remembered it fully and I was like, that sucks. Like and but then like it was just so fun to like go back and then like enjoy certain things and like I was a better friend because I was thinking about my friends more because I wasn't spending as much time on my phone. I was a better daughter because I would like call my mom more. It was just like it's crazy how much it really is in our lives more than it needs to be.
Yeah. I mean, I think it definitely, like you're saying, just the relationships that people I feel like have on social media, like there's like, I don't know, like I mean, you have like hundreds of thousands of followers, but even someone with this like, a network of like 500 followers, that's like
Yeah.
500 more people that you interact with that like, it feels like they're like kind of like pseudo relationships where like that gap can be filled with, like you said, like talking to your mom and not like
Yeah.
posting, like you get that kind of same solace and like that need for interaction with like, or at least I don't know if that's how you feel, but that's how I feel with like
Yeah,
one
absolutely.
person, like one person you're actually close with that knows you versus like posting on something on social media for like 500 people to see and not like.
Yeah. Or just like for me, my biggest thing I hate about social media is how much time I spend on it.
Yeah.
So with the like, okay, instead of an hour being spent on my phone, what could I be doing with this hour? Like I could do something fun with my room, call my, like there's just so many better ways I could spend the hour versus checking my phone to see what people are saying or going on TikTok and looking at my For You page. Like it's so dumb. It's so annoying. But then it's like I find myself doing it all the time.
I think I will say something about the screen time. I think Apple needs to fix this because it's not accurate.
Hmm.
Like,
Oh,
like
really?
yeah, I mean, that's just something I noticed because I've like consciously not been on my phone that often.
Uh-huh.
And so like, let me see, like my screen time will say something crazy. Like it's been like 9 hours when like, that's just there's not even, I haven't been awake that many hours today. Um,
Really?
and it'll say, because I think what it is if you have, yeah, so it says, um, today it says 6 hours like that. And it's because the apps are open.
So
I'm like,
early in
what
the
have I
day.
just been like sitting on my, like,
Yeah.
but if it's because I think what it is if the app's open on your phone, like you don't close out of the app, it counts it as
Okay.
being used. So like I have like 6 hours for my clock, like
Okay.
that. But
Yeah.
I think you can then also see like, yeah, so it says today 5 hours 53 minutes, but then it says social underneath, like social 56 minutes,
Instead
information
of
reading
a
11, entertainment 1 second. So really it's been like 1 hour. But like
yeah.
because my clock has been open for 4 hours, it like counts it.
Okay, today mine is at an hour and 30 minutes,
Oh, okay.
which is really good for me. Um, and that's just because in the past week I've really been like trying. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate my phone. I love what I do. I absolutely hate my phone.
So
It's such
it seems
a
like yours is more accurate than mine because maybe you close your apps out more diligently than I do.
I don't know why it's so low. That doesn't even sound accurate. There's no way I'm on my phone for 4 minutes of it was productive. The rest of it was not.
Who are they to judge?
Yeah, what do you know about my life? Um, yeah, no, it's all bad.
So like
Um, sorry, keep
you're
going.
oh yeah, so sorry. you're you're saying like I mean, you're very vocal, like you do not like social media, you don't like being on your
No,
phone, but so much of I guess this of your work as an actress now, like kind of and your comedy work is through social media. I mean, like I
yeah,
first saw your stuff on TikTok and I loved it. And like I mean,
uh-huh.
I've since then deleted TikTok because TikTok to me is like the most addictive, crazy thing I've
Or
ever experienced.
did you know they have there's like I don't even know how to pronounce it, but there's a cat CACHE
Catch,
cash catch. I don't know.
catch it.
Um I or maybe I don't know if I'm gonna say this right, but so there's like a recommended level of like addictiveness an app can be.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's a legality thing yet, but I do know there's like a level of addiction that they're like this is a recommended way, and TikTok completely disregarded it, and like theirs is through the roof. Like their tactics and what
Yeah.
they do.
I mean,
They do every single thing possible.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Like it's one of those I can't like when it took me so long to finally be able to delete it. Like I delete it,
Yeah.
re-download it, delete it, re-download it, delete it, re-download it. Like,
There would be times where I'd be like sitting on my bed and I'd be like, I need to do XYZ, whether it was for work or something. And I'd be like, I need to get off my phone, get off my phone. And I like physically couldn't do it. Like I like it was so bad before I took the 10-day break. That was when I was like, I need this, like I'm fully addicted to it. Like it is an issue. But it's so hard. They make it so hard. And I'm scared for before we mentioned kids, like thinking about they don't know a life without it. Like they
yeah.
only know this being a part of their lives. Like it's sick.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we're about the same age. Are you 24?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm also 24. So we
Okay,
grew
great.
up like in the same, like I didn't have Instagram until my freshman year of high school type of
Mhm.
thing. Which I feel like is when it came out. And so like I was thinking about how like, we'd use Facebook earlier, like Facebook was around. But we would have to be sitting at a computer. Like you'd go on your home computer and you'd use AIM and then you would leave. And
Yeah, we would
wasn't like
say GTG, and we never
yes.
say that anymore. We never say gotta go because we're never going away from our phones.
Yes. And now it's like we have this whole internet, this whole device, this whole social networking, everything in our pocket that you're like expected to have. And I just think like how different that is from us. And I mean, we're already obviously terrified by like having these all the time and like using it. And I
Yeah,
can't imagine these kids that just have no idea and their brains are still developing that they have to consider like the whole world and everything they do, I feel like.
yeah, yeah. I think they have an insane amount of pressure, and they're being exposed. I have a friend who, she's a therapist, and she's like one of the smartest people I know. And she was saying that kids are developing quicker because they're being exposed. So their brains are developing so much faster than ours were because they're being exposed to things so early because they're on their phones. And so their bodies are developing, like everything is just happening so much quicker, which is why I think that, like, we always like make fun of them when they have like no awkward stage. And I
Yeah.
think it's because at 9 years old, they're seeing comedy that we're making, or they're seeing posts from adults and they're understanding it because they're being exposed to it so early. And so because of that, they're just like skipping stages. I am so sad for them. And like 13-year-olds for their birthday parties, they'll do photo shoots for their Instagram or like do things, and it's just like their brain isn't, they're not thinking about like what's going to be really fun for me and my friends. It's like, how can I look cool and pretty? Like it's just, it's so sad.
It makes me think too that like that maybe that is what's fun for them. They're like, this is a fun
Yeah,
activity that we will all enjoy, and it's just like taking pictures
yeah,
and like getting dressed up. I don't, and I mean, it's weird because I also feel bad for them, but I also am just, it's like I feel bad for them in retrospective, like it's different from what I grew up with. But I think of like every generation, I feel like kind of feels bad for like
for
this
the one
childhood,
before.
right?
Yeah.
That they didn't get. So I'm like, what is, you know, like what do they think about like what do they think about fun? Like what even is that idea to them? Like what do they do for fun? Like do they still do the same things that we do and they just document it?
I don't,
You know? I don't know.
I
We
have
need a
no
13-year-old.
idea. I know we need to bring in a 13-year-old. I was a camp counselor in like for a few years and in like 2016, 2017. So not even, I think even now, like in the past 2 years, social media has changed so
Mhm.
much.
Yeah.
But like even then the campers would come in and be like, because they only know camp them. And so they'd be like, well, how many followers do you have? Because they like don't know the social media version of them yet. And so they'd be like asking like, what's the most likes you've gotten on a post? And it's just, it's so like their worth and like their popularity and the way they see each other is rooted in like how they look online. I don't know what it's like now, but
Yeah.
that's how it was when I was, it was just really crazy.
It makes me think of like just like identity creation. Like I
Oh
feel,
yeah.
like what is I mean now like so you know like the ratio rule, like you must be following more followers than you have,
Oh
or
yeah.
like you must be having you must have more followers than you're following, whatever.
Right.
So my Instagram, or how I've been using my Instagram the past few years, has been very much like just to, as lame as it sounds, to express myself and like post cool
Yeah.
things that I do and like, or not do, really just like make, because I like making art or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but I went to school in New York, and everyone
Uh,
is very like, I don't know. I feel like it's like very typical. Like New York people care about that stuff. Like people care about like, I mean, you're in California, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Are you in LA?
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's probably fairly similar, right? Like people just care about like,
I think so. I truly do not scroll. Like the only reasons I use it are for my work
yeah.
purposes. So I don't, yeah, I think so. And I think it's all just like a lot of fake stuff and posing, but I would imagine it being mostly that.
Yeah, so I get now like sometimes I get subconscious for like because my ratio is like I follow more people than I have following me. And but I'm also
Ew.
I know.
Okay, I need to end this podcast
Bye.
right now. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah,
Sorry, keep going.
and but then I'm like a 24-year-old woman. Like this is not how I judge my sense of
Do you
self.
think about it? Are you embarrassed by it?
Maybe like not really, not anymore at all.
Okay.
Like I used to be though. I used to be a little
Okay.
bit embarrassed by it, especially when I'd meet new people and they'd like follow me. But then I would make up for I feel like I'd be like, well, my content is good. So I don't care. Like I just haven't blown up
And
yet.
that's, you know, they just don't know me yet. Oh, that's hilarious. I think, what was I gonna say? That's all it should be. It should just be like post what you want to post. Like it shouldn't be for anything else. Also, I think like with when you're talking about like identity development,
Yeah.
I am seeing so much of like people calling out people for doing something weird, and like these social media people are being so like closely monitored that like they're pointing out very small things that they do that are like either lovable or unlikable. And I would imagine being a 13-year-old, you see that, and then you are like, oh, this is what people like, this is what people don't like. Or just like seeing a viral video of someone that's being made fun of, they're like, oh, well, don't do that. And I just think like they're
Mm.
being told so young what is like the perfect, what a well-liked person is like,
Yeah.
and they're just like constantly seeing it online,
Yeah.
and they're seeing comments, and they're seeing, it's just like they're constantly just being told how to be.
Yeah. And it when it goes down to something so small, to like these small, it's not just like be a good person, don't hurt other people, where like society like generally like is, advocating for those things. It's like, I don't know, like don't wear like skinny jeans with like weird, I don't know. I'm
Oh
old.
yeah, I'm
Like
no, yeah. But it does come down to like little fashion things, or just like with the recent like Charlie and Dixie thing, like
oh
when
my
they, yeah,
God.
I'm nervous to have this conversation, but like them throwing up Dixie, like spitting up her food. So now like a kid knows like, oh, if I spit up my food, that's bad. Even though like whether or not what they're learning from it is good, it's still just like that's just a small moment where they learned a characteristic, and now they're like, okay,
Yeah.
noted. And then like
Yeah.
that's a small thing, but like over time they're always seeing these little things. And I feel like if I were 13 seeing that, I know I would be like constantly taking notes, like, oh, this person's well liked for this, I have to be more like that, and like trying to navigate who I am through these things.
Yeah, and it makes you think that if everyone is seeing, well, I guess we know that not everyone is seeing the same content because everything is like curated to you, but like is everyone, are they just creating like clones of each other? Like everyone's just trying to be like
That's
the
what I
same?
think. I truly
Yeah.
do believe. And it's like you can't, even if you were someone that was like weird and funky and had your own thing. I do see people online and they're like, yeah, I'm weird and I don't care. And they're like 16 years old. And I'm like, to have that confidence is crazy. But there's so many people that are weird and have their own quirks, but they don't get to do that because they're so scared of like what people like it. I don't know. And like I saw this, I was watching Jim Carrey. There was like this documentary on him, and he was like in a restaurant and he was like just being crazy, and
Yeah.
he was doing it and everyone was watching, and I was like, that is a moment for like everyone in the building. But if that were to happen now, everyone would be recording it, and like people would have their 2 cents to say about it. And it's just, I don't know, no, even if you're just like a random person at a mall doing something, like you're always being, there's always a potential for like a, I don't know, it's just such, it's so weird. Like there's so
Yeah.
much pressure all the time now.
I that's something that I like, it brings up this idea of I guess mindfulness, but also like memories and like living, and like I think of it like going to a concert and like everyone has their phone up in the air and like is videoing the whole concert, video taping. Oh my God, I sound like 45 years old. Is videoing the whole concert. Um, but
Recording.
is recording that. But then I'm thinking, and like so much of that time, and like I've done that too. Like, I mean, I went to
Yeah.
like every One Direction concert in high school, and I mean, I didn't use my phone. I took my camera and like kind of
Oh,
like,
did you have like the, were you like one of those vintage like into Tumblr old camera things?
well, my dad got me like one of those nice cameras because I was like he
Uh-huh.
was into photography, I was into photography,
Oh,
but I
that's so
just,
sweet.
yeah, but I just did it. I mean, like I was just like trying to zoom in on Harry Styles. Like it wasn't,
Yeah.
yeah.
The whole time you just like hear in the background, like when a camera's zooming in, it's like
Yeah.
the whole time it's just like
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, and even that time, those times I remember, like, I was like, wow, I wish I just like lived that concert through the lens that I was like, literally through that lens. Like, I didn't like
uh-huh.
kind of capture all the energy. And if I had just put my phone or put my camera down, whatever, it would have been so different. And now, though, that's like the norm. Like, did you, like, you
Yeah.
live through your phone. And I wonder like how, when you look back at those experiences, do you need to look at this image to be like, oh yeah, I remember that? Or like if you didn't have that image, like what do you think?
Oh, can you even remember it?
Yeah, like can you even remember it? Like what do you just remember what you took a photo of? I feel like sometimes that's what I've witnessed with
Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
My entire camera roll, I don't even take pictures anymore. It's literally just like me doing bits and moments. So
Mhm.
like my whole camera roll is just my face. But I'll like go through that to like remember, like if I did a bit at a, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what I did before Corona. But like on a trip, I will look at that and be like, oh yeah, I remember this day. Like it helps me remember what was going
Mhm.
on that day.
Yeah. But
It
I
is
don't
weird.
know if that's like I don't know if that's different than like it's like if you didn't have the phone, would you have like the same amount of difficulty
Right.
remembering the day? I don't know. You know that thing with
I
like the
mean,
GPS?
sorry, keep going.
Oh, you know that thing with like the GPS, or it's like you're like part because using the GPS like part of your brain that's like for remembering directions or like something about directions is um like decreasing because everyone's relying on
Oh,
the GPS.
oh, like the Broca's Wernicke's, like those areas. But that's
Yeah.
language.
y-
But
Yeah.
like those parts of the brain are getting smaller. It's like our
Yeah.
pinky fingers.
What's with the wait, wait, what's going on with our pinky
Oh
fingers?
no, our thumbs. Sorry. Like our thumbs are shorter because they didn't use them as much. Like the theory of like cavemen didn't use their thumbs as much, so they're shorter.
Oh.
Wait, am I making this up?
I don't know. I mean, I
Or
haven't
maybe it
heard of
is
it.
pinkies. There's like some theory that's like one of our fingers are shorter than the other because it's like they didn't use it as much, they didn't need it.
Oh.
Something on our body.
Some one thing on our body is
There's
shorter.
one thing that we actually don't need. And that's why it's smaller. And then maybe all of our brains over time. That's crazy though.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know how it's affecting memory. I mean, I really don't know like the neurological things that are happening, but it makes me
Yeah.
think that I feel like how can there not be, you know?
Yeah. And I just think with like suicides and stuff, like they're hearing about it happening more. So like to them, oh, this is it's so but I don't even know if I want to talk like but you know what I mean? Like they're hearing about it more, but like when I was 13 hearing suicide, I was like, what? Like my it made me freeze up because I didn't even like the word and like it was so scary to me. But these kids are like hearing it and making jokes about it and like it's so common to them. And
Mhm.
so it's just of course it's gonna be more common because it's not this like taboo thing to them like it was to us.
Yeah. Do you know the like the Momo challenge and the blue whale challenge?
Yes. I don't know about the blue whale, but I do remember the Momo.
I think they were similar in that the blue challenge, it was like a list of things that you need to do, and then like the last thing on the list was like to kill yourself. Um,
Mm.
which is just so bizarre that it worked, and it makes you really realize how impressionable the people that are
Oh
doing
my
these challenges
god.
are, you
Yeah.
know? Um, and I think, obviously those aren't around anymore, or to my knowledge, they aren't around anymore,
I'm
but
sure there has to be like I don't know. There's got to be some little things that like people haven't like been able to, catch on and ruin yet.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, this topic honestly, like, I mean, we can totally move on with like the suicide and social media is like such a rich topic. There's so many like I don't know, I read this thing a couple years ago that was like maybe not a couple years ago, maybe it was like last year, that this girl, she's like 9 years old,
Oh
and
my god.
her mom, it was like before she was getting ready to go to school, and her mom was like, don't go, like she wanted to go on YouTube before she was getting ready to go to school, and her mom was like, you're not allowed to go on YouTube. And then she hung herself because she wasn't able to go on YouTube. And I think that she just thought that was like a normal reaction to not being able to get what you want. Isn't that insane?
Oh my god.
And I'm also like, what? How does someone even know how to do that at that age? Like she like
At
hung.
9 years old? Yeah, no, at 9 years old, like I didn't even I
I like didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know any of that was a thing. That
I'm
even
gonna close my window
concept.
really quick. Um, wow.
Mm.
They're just being, oh, it's so sad. It's so sad and it's terrifying. And I think there needs to be laws on kids on social media. And I think, like these adults are complaining about these kids being like the way that they are. And it's like, you guys are making the apps that are truly ruining their lives. Like a kid would not, they don't know what they're signing up for when they download Instagram and TikTok. Like you guys know what they're signing up for and you're seeing them as a product. And like,
Yeah.
it is. Oh, it's so gross. It's disgusting, and it's ran by adults, and so I don't understand why they're not
Yeah, and
doing things.
it's like I think of the first thing I think of like with social media and like kid like that values, I guess, kids privacy sort of, not really, but it's like YouTube where there you have to mark specific content as like kid friendly or not
Oh
kid
yeah,
friendly. But the biggest like the biggest user of social media are children. And
yeah.
like so they get the most ads, like they make the most money for these companies. And it I don't know if you've ever been down the rabbit hole of like YouTubers that like do commentary on like children's content on YouTube, but it's very
No,
bizarre. It's like very weird. There's like
are they making comments negatively about these kids?
there
Are they
so
critiquing them or saying like, why is this kid doing this?
or I guess the I guess watch the commentaries. I don't watch like the children's the actual YouTube channels that are for the children, but like commentaries on the creators. Like looking at a creator that like makes like for example like J Station is like this YouTube creator that makes content for children. And do you know like Cody Ko?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I watch a lot of he did a couple of them and I think like Drew Gooden and like Danny and like that kind of crew on YouTube. I don't know. I watch like majority of the commentary stuff. But anyways, so they did like they'd watch a J Station video and then like be like, what is this? Like this is geared towards children. And like one of the things,
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like just like
yeah.
critiquing the content. And one of the things with J Station, this like long ploy was that he and his girlfriend are the ones that like make this commentary or whatever. And he made a video being like she died and like trying to get sympathy from people. She didn't actually die, but like they he like
And their content is for kids.
it's for kids, like it's specifically for kids. So like she died
Uh-huh.
and then one they like didn't like her they didn't include and tell people that are close to them about this I guess prank or whatever. So like her parents were like calling him and this and they were like what's going on. Anyways, and then she came out like in this
Oh.
midst too that she was like he's abusive and like all this stuff. But then they make a video where she comes back. They're like she died and she comes back like for their followers and like all this stuff. And he got slack from it. I think he went to jail actually for some of the stuff that she said about him because he was abusive. Comes back, talks about how he went to jail and continues doing the same type of stuff. And I'm like, what is going on?
And like, if that is their like deal, and like that is how they express themselves and like get through it, totally like do what you need. But it's the fact that it's truly messing with kids, like other people, like. And I think we can look at kids being on social media and just be like, oh yeah, it's bad. But then if like you actually think about the effects that these like kids seeing that and
Yeah.
being like, and they're like impressionable and they're seeing that, and like there's going to be so many effects of it that like we don't even know about yet, like.
Yeah. We won't know, honestly, and
Yeah.
for a while, for like a like decades. I mean, even stuff like that, just thinking about like the suicide stuff, like if you're showing a video to children that like you say someone dies and then she comes back 3 episodes later, they're not gonna understand that death is final.
Permanent, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And so I don't know how these people can still like then is this the fault of YouTube? Should these people not be able to target their videos towards children and like mark their content for children when it's obviously like I don't know, like messed up,
Yeah.
but they still can. And like is YouTube going to stop them? Well, they haven't.
I don't, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
I we got like regulated TV shows, and like, our parents knew if we were watching a Disney Channel show, like they trusted the channel, and if they ever put anything bad, the channel would have to Disney Channel would get, so much shit.
yeah.
So like, but on YouTube, like the whole world is at their fingertips and you can't control your kid, you know,
Yeah.
24/7 from watching. Yeah, that's sad. And I don't know if it's, I'm not, I think I'm going to be a psychotic parent, and like my kid is not having any form of technology. They'll have a Go phone. They can call me and the cops, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I totally relate to that. Yeah, to that sentiment. Um, so let's take it a little bit lighter. Now that we went down this very dark,
So
very sad path. Um, so okay, so on stay on the topic of maybe children's content, but a different kind of content.
okay.
Um, are you familiar with Fortnite?
I mean, I know the name. I don't really know what it is.
You don't know what it is?
It's a video game, correct?
Yes, it's a video game, but
Okay.
it's like a video, it's like an online live video game. And like anyone in the world can log in and play it, and you like it's online, so it's not like you have to buy like a console, it's not like you have to buy like, how you like a disc or
Oh,
like
that's
whatever.
fun.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
so
get into
yeah.
it.
And it's like you play in real time with people, and
Okay.
some of the, I guess, the things that like the objectives are you to survive and to kill the other team
Okay.
and to like build houses. And there's this thing of like when you die you like respawn really quickly, so it's like kind of keeps you going. Even if you like lose, you just like keep going, and so it
Hmm.
and your final score ends up being like counting into the amount of times you died in the game, so you don't ever actually like lose. Your ranking just kind of
Yeah.
drops sort of. um anyway, so that's just kind of the gist of it. And the what I'm find interesting is there are people that like streamers record themselves playing Fortnite, and I have younger cousins and they like watch streamers play it, even though some of them don't even play it. They just like watch other people
Okay.
play video games without.
It's like a Twitch concept of people like playing Among Us and streaming it.
Yeah. Well, I guess,
Okay.
and the kids that I know watch it like on YouTube, where they like put it up on YouTube, so they don't watch it like live as it's happening.
Uh-huh.
It's, to me, it's like this weird thing of like your entertainment is watching someone else do something that's,
Be entertained.
yeah, doing so, yeah, yeah, like it's not like they're, I don't know, have you seen those? Like, what do you think of like streaming and
Oh,
like,
streaming services. Oh, I don't mind. I had a friend the other day that he was like asking if I'd played Among Us. I was like, yeah. He
oh,
was
I've
like, I've
never
only
played
watched people play. I've never played it. And I was like, that's so weird of you. You're weird for that. Oh, I don't know. I guess I could see it. My friend and I watched, do you know Lorray?
yeah.
And he's so funny. We were watching him play it, and that was the first time I had like watched someone else play a game. And it was funny just because I like love him and I think he's hilarious.
Hmm.
Um, but I can't imagine. I mean, I guess if you like, I like liked the commentary, and he was playing with people that we knew of, not know personally, and so that was fun. But I guess I kind of get it, but that's weird that that's like a thing.
It kind of, I guess it's like, you saying that makes me think maybe it's similar to like the mukbang stuff where people watch them and they feel
Yeah,
like they're eating dinner with someone else. Like maybe it feels like you're kind of hanging out with these people, watching them
yeah.
play. Um,
I mean, I watched it. I probably like wouldn't be like, oh my god, I'm so excited to watch. Like, when I put on another one, I'm so excited to watch it. But like, it was fun to watch, and like, if someone had it on, I'd probably like tune in for a little bit, you know.
yeah,
But I could
yeah,
see being like 10 years old and like someone you love is playing it, and getting to watch them play
yeah,
like something that you understand in like situations you've been in. Probably like a little bit of like, oh, I've been in that part of the game where I'm trying to kill that person, and so they're like, oh, that's like what they thought.
yeah. Okay, yeah,
Maybe
that
some of
totally
that.
makes sense. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So I guess it kind of evens out this ground between like the viewer and the creator.
Yeah, I guess it probably is like intriguing because it's someone they love doing something that they've done too. So like they
Yeah,
are totally immersed in like that moment. I
yeah,
could see it. Kind of makes sense.
yeah. That does make sense. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I've only watched like people play episode, but that's just because I'm too cheap to download it.
Oh my god, think like real life game. Oh my god. Oh, that's so funny.
That game is
And
drama.
that game is so much drama. My sister and I played that a few years ago, like randomly one summer, and we were both like getting so mad because every time we wanted to do something, we had to like wait 30 minutes or like buy something. And we're like,
Yeah.
no, she just needs to go on a date with this guy. Like, why is this happening? It gets raunchy too.
It does. It does get really raunchy. Yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing I've watched, and because I like it when they pay for it because I need to know what's going on.
Yeah, that's a smart way of seeing like what could happen on the app if you were rich.
Yeah. If you were rich, it's like $5 to do it. But like
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
that adds up. I could easily see myself spending like $100 on like
So
one
much
journey.
money. Yeah, I used to be I'm not allowed to download games anymore on my phone because I will like get so caught up in a game and like play that so much. And I know it means nothing and I can't help it. No games are allowed on my phone.
It's a good rule, probably.
Yeah, needed.
Um, okay, so I want to go back a little bit to you mentioned Dixie and Charlie and the recent things
Mm,
that went on.
yeah.
Um, so do you want to explain the controversy that they recently got themselves into?
So what I am understanding is that Dixie is just known for being really sensitive with her stomach, and the so her management team was like, "Oh, it'd be so funny if you like played into that." Gave her snails. They are close personal friends with this chef. They have him over all the time. They love each other. So he cooked them snails. Dixie had like a dramatic like, "Ew, that's so like ew," it threw it up. And then but when they put out, because they were doing a video that was like dinner with the D'Amelios, and it was like a 10-minute long video. So when the video was put out, all you saw was the chef serving them snails, Dixie taking the snail, throwing it up because she was grossed out, and not, giving the chef the like love that we would all probably give our chef. And so from the viewer standpoint, it looked really bad. It looked like she was being disrespectful. It looked terrible. Charlie, I don't even like talking about this comment because it's not even a bad comment, but she was saying that I wish I hit 100 million followers a year after hitting a million, um, which is like such a understandable thing. And so people are up their assholes for these two things.
Yes. And they lost.
And can't, I mean, respect for them went down because of this. Just kidding. Mine, no, I love those girls, and you know what really made me mad when I remembered that they're so if people my age, I feel like a lot of people our age don't really know the TikTok world, but someone that like a guy version of the D'Amelios was recently seen at a restaurant punching a waiter because they told him that he can't vape.
What?
And a few people knew about it. I saw a few videos about it, and that
That's
was
not
it.
real.
And they got like kicked out of this restaurant, blown over in 2 seconds. No one even cares about it. But these two girls are perceived doing something wrong to their chef, and I mean, like the whole world shut down for a day. Like it was just sick.
Who
the,
punches a waiter? I
the
can
I'll send you the video after this. It's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, what? That is like I that is absolutely insane to me. So weird. Yeah, okay. I didn't know about that, which maybe is to your point that didn't
Guys, don't
make the
get canceled.
headlines.
Really.
Yeah. Boys will be boys, don't you know, Courtney?
Yeah. Sorry. Of course. Yeah.
I totally forgot.
Shit. Duh.
Yeah. So yes, that is the controversy, that happened recently with Dixie and Charlie. They both lost. I think Dixie lost like a bit over 500,000 followers. Charlie lost 1 million followers because
She's
of.
back. She just hit 100,000.
Oh,
100
she
million.
did.
Our girl did it. She came back better than ever. I cannot
um,
imagine what's it like to be her.
I honestly cannot. I feel like she's so young, and 100 million followers, 100 million people looking at your content, or I hate saying your content because it makes it feel like it's different than who you are, which it probably is. But at that age,
I think that's a smarter way to say it than because it is like I would say the stuff
mhm,
that I put out is my content. It's not. It is me, but it's like a heightened version. It's like very specific moments. So I
yeah.
like refer to it as content. I think that's like a healthier way of looking at it than actually being like that's me that they don't like, or like that's me that they're commenting on.
Yeah, like it's chosen parts that are
Hmm.
meant for this audience. Yeah, okay. So just all these 100 million, I can't even, like, that number doesn't even make sense to me.
Yeah.
I can't imagine someone that's like 16 thinking
She, like,
about that.
truly is the most famous person on this planet at the
That's
moment.
insane.
Yeah.
Her family is doing like a reality show.
Are they? I've been hearing it in the works. I didn't know it was, like, actually coming.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actually happening or not. I mean, I don't imagine why, if they want to do it, why it wouldn't happen. I feel like Brian Seacrest would be all over that. Uh,
Yeah. And they
yeah,
make so much money.
yeah. Um, so I don't know. Obviously this like things, but like you think about cancel culture, you'll like, I feel like we kind of touched on that already, like just sort of,
Yeah.
getting into details about people and like making these grand assumptions that they're like a bad person or they're like this type of
Yeah.
person because of things that don't really matter.
Mhm.
But let you mentioned like how much, like you just made a quick comment about the money. So where do you think money, like creator making money, not like so you making money off your platform and other people making money off their
Uh-huh.
platform, how do you think that fits in with just making content in general?
Everything.
Yeah.
Um, I when I started my Instagram and I started seeing that it was, like, gonna help me pursue my dreams, pursue acting. That's real
Shoot for
funny though.
the stars.
Pursue my dreams. Um, I, like, made a huge promise to myself, and I was like, "This account is for opportunities and not money, and, like, you're not allowed to look at it as anything else." So for the
Okay.
first, like, 3 years, I, like, had a very strict, like, "You will not do ads, you will not," maybe not 3 years, I think it was, like, 2 years, and I was like, "You're not allowed to make money because like, I this isn't for money, this is for me to, like, get to be an actor and, like, to get to do what I wanna do," and I just, like I have never had my own money, and so I just I didn't know how I was gonna react to it, and I didn't know some people get, like, really money hungry, and I, like, wouldn't think I would ever get that way, but, like, we're human, and I think it's a natural response. So, um, for me, I was just, like, very strict on myself with that, and I think because of that now, the root of everything I do is truly to make people laugh and to, like, becoming a better comedian actor, and so, that is the way I look at my content and what I do. And I like, if I ever feel it going a different direction, then I will like really like have a come to Jesus moment and be like, what are we doing? Like, this is a dirty path and this is like a career path. So that's how I look at it. I don't
Mm.
know how other content creators or how other people doing this are looking at it as, but I also look at my stuff as like, I don't want to do social media forever. I want to do social media until I'm able to do what I love doing and have social media just be a hobby that I do on the side. Like I don't enjoy it being my actual job. So I the actions I make are very like calculated for a longevity thing. It's like I have no intentions of it being like quick money.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of stands more as like you saying, like for opportunities, sort of like an online portfolio that you continually
Yeah.
update.
Mhm. I am making money from it now. I actually just yesterday put on my story and I was like letting my followers know. I was like, hey, I'm about to have a bunch of videos come out. I'm doing more ads than normal. And I think now it's more socially acceptable to make money doing what you like doing. But I always like for me, it's always like content first. Like if I'm doing something and I can tell it's a video that like I would be nervous about posting or like embarrassed, like just don't think it lives up to my other videos and I would never. I'd rather not get the money and not post it.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Where do you think, and I don't know, you can enlighten me a bit more because I don't know how specifically it works with like brand deals and ads.
Yeah.
So if you accept an ad, are you able, and you like try to make a video and you find that, you know what, this like doesn't really go on my content. I'm not able to make something that, effectively sells the ad and that goes on my page. Can you tell them never mind?
So for myself, I have um like I have a manager and a team that works with that. So before it's even presented to me, they have already argued money and what exactly would be expected from me. And my manager, he's perfect. He knows that like my biggest thing is creative control. And if I can like find a funny way to do this, then totally in. And if I care about the product and I like am for it, we're all good. But like if I think there was something that was offered the other week, and I was like, I just don't see this becoming something that I'll feel comfortable with coming out, and we like ended up turning it down. But like, um, for me, I'll have like a meeting with them and like talk about ideas, and then like after that, I'll decide if I am down for it. But I'm very particular, and like I make sure everything's like set up for it to be a good video before I say yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. So it's nice that you have a whole team that's helping you out,
Yeah.
um, and making sure you're making the right decisions for that longevity that you're talking
Uh-huh.
about. So I've noticed I mean, before we did this, I went on like a binge of your videos, which
Oh
was
God.
super amazing. Maybe instilled my need for social media a little bit more, but it's okay. Um, but I noticed as we're getting closer, as you're more, to the current, your production value has definitely gone up. Um,
Yes. Yeah. That is due to I work for Colby Central right now.
okay.
And I think because of that, it's made me kind of have a higher bar for my own comedy of like what I expect from myself.
Hmm.
And so there are moments where I know a quick witted video in the moment in my bed would be the best way to put this joke out. But sometimes I'll come up with something and it's like, this would be so much funnier if I like wrote it out, really figured, like really made this the best it can be. And so I think that was just more of just like me taking time and which I learned from my job.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, do you think, because when we're thinking end goal, right? Like this is a
Mhm.
route to kind of get to where you want to be and you want to be an actress. Do you ever think of like be like using this to make your own production house or like production studio and then like using that to make your own content, or do you want to kind of work on other people's projects?
Both. I think it's kind of crazy now because before you could just be an actor, like you could just do not be a one trick pony because I think you're never only wearing one hat, but um I think now it's like if you want to make it, you have to be creating your own stuff, showing you have to have a lot more than just be able to act. So I
Mhm.
think it'll always happen simultaneously now. Like I think I'll be getting to work on other people's projects, but while that's happening, I'll be expected to be like creating my own stuff as well as creating my own stuff for like something more professional than digital.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Just yeah. Um
I
yeah,
think
I
it all
think
is it's like a oiled machine that I'm still trying to figure out how to do it all, but
yeah,
it
and
does.
I think you're right in that like it's not just like having the ability to act, and maybe that has to do
Mhm.
with or being the ability to have that one trait or that one skill, and maybe that's due to social media where so many more people are showing that they're able to have this talent that now you
Yeah,
kind of have to bring more to it. You have to bring like the ideas, you have to bring, I don't know, the personality or like the
yeah.
character or like whatever it may be to make yourself stand out. Are you finding that true?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think um yeah. I mean, it's really hard now just to be an actor and not have a social media presence. Like people care about who you are as a person as well and like what you stand for before they go and support a movie you're in. Like there's so much more of a like I think before the mystery of being a celebrity and an actor were like really valued and it was like you are different than me. But now
Mhm.
I think like Will Smith is a really great example of that where like I think he said it and he was like in his first Instagram post, if you like scroll back to it, it's so interesting. He was like, being a celebrity used to be a mystery, and like, but now people don't want that gap between them and the person. Like now they want to feel like they know you. So I do think you have to be more of a like well-rounded person
Mhm.
in order to succeed.
Yeah, I feel like that is such a big difference with like traditional media and like new media, that
Yeah,
this pressure to be a social media star slash influencer
yeah,
comes with like, being an actress or a comedian or whatever it may be.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, some people are totally fine with like just being a TikToker and like they're so happy in that and they like don't crave it. I just know for me personally, I like do not put my worth at all in my social media person. Like I put my worth in like my abilities of my talents. So like I would never be fulfilled by just being a social media person.
okay, so off that then, how do you determine the worth of your talent or how good something is?
Um, there's been moments where I've like put out a video that I'm like, this is good. And then I'll put out and like it doesn't get the response that I hope. But like if I like really know I'm like, no, that was good, then I like really try my best to stick to it. Obviously, like it is important to like hear what people are saying and get their feedback. But I don't look at numbers because that's like an algorithm thing and sometimes you just miss it. But I look at like what people are actually saying. If it's like constructive criticism, I love taking that in. And if it's someone just like complimenting the video, I'll take that in as well. But I won't really look at like this only did this well because that doesn't mean anything.
Okay. And like, so,
I'm gonna grab my computer charger really quick.
okay. Um, hmm. And I know
Okay.
we're running a little bit over. Is that okay with you? Because I have a
Oh my god, I could talk about this for days.
okay. Okay, cool. I just don't want to harp on your schedule if you have something else going
Not at
on.
all.
Okay. Um, okay, so on that same topic, if someone leaves you a comment on your social media giving you some sort of critique, um, and maybe multiple people are saying just different things,
Yeah.
versus someone that is like an expert in the field, whatever that may be, like Judd Apatow or something like that.
Says something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
says something to you. Where do you think the difference between like this one person that is seen as like an expert in the field versus like this conglomerate of just like technically your audience that you're kind of
Yeah.
making the content for?
So the other day I got a compliment through someone else from someone that like means the world to me. And I like never even knew they knew I feel like the fact that they saw my face is just like beyond me. Um, and they told me and I was like, that's crazy. But it did not mean as much to me as if I got like a bunch of people that I'm making my comedy for said really sweet things to me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because
totally.
like as much as like I'm happy they see, hang on, let me make sure I'm wording this right. Like it means the world that they believe in me and like I was emotional and everything, but like I'm making my content more for does this make sense?
I
It's
mean,
okay to say no.
so far it's making sense, but I think you're it seems like you're in the middle of your thought.
I would rather get um a bunch of comments from from
Yeah.
strangers online that I'm making my material for than from one person above me saying like, oh, that was good.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's great, but did like these people like it because that's who I made it for.
Yeah.
And I think um and like I was talking to someone the other day and I think like second seasons of shows are a lot of times not as good as the first because the first one they're making it with the viewer in mind, the second one they're making it for the entertainment industry in mind. And it's hard to like continue. Whitney Cummings said that she always is like staying in small towns and stuff because she always is like, if I stay in LA, then I'm around all these LA people and I'm trying to impress them and I can't help it. But if I'm, going to like some random town, it's like, oh yeah, these are the people I want to make laugh. Like I don't care about the people,
Hmm.
they're not the ones that are going to keep me successful. It's the ones that are around the world.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that totally makes sense. I mean, um, yeah, you're
It's like a
valuing,
different category of a compliment. Like the
yeah,
comment I got from that woman will forever mean I'll never not think about it, but it doesn't affect the way I see my comedy and what I'm trying to put out. Like it didn't put any pressure on me. I was like, that means the world. That is insane. I'll never forget this moment. But like, let's keep our eyes here.
so what if that person, instead of complimenting you, like said something negative?
I I think I would do what I always do now. And I remember that at the end of the day, this industry is people hoping they made the right decision and are hoping that they're doing some people are really good at it, but at the end of the day, they're a person hoping that what they're making and what they're doing is right. And it was so weird to me when I moved to LA because I started like meeting people that were like, oh yeah, I was on this set when this movie was made, or I helped write this thing. And I'm like, that is so crazy. It puts humans behind this thing that at one point felt like it wasn't humans. Like I'm watching a movie, I was like, a movie is a movie is a movie. But now I
Mm-hmm.
watch a movie and I'm like, I feel like the writing could have been a little bit better on that, because now I'm thinking of it as humans and like people, someone that I could be one day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just opinions. And I made a video that someone above me was like, no, we don't want it for that. And I was like, you're really wrong for this decision. Like, I didn't say that, obviously. I was like, okay, understand. But in my head, I was like, you're wrong for that decision and you're going to regret that. And then, like, I did it and it was one of my best performing videos. And that's just like a moment that I'll hold and being like, sometimes I do know more than someone above me, and like that's important to remember that like what you're doing is what you're doing and you can be your own expert at it. Like you don't need other people telling you whether or not it's good enough.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that because it's whoever in that viral video instance, whoever was like, yeah, this isn't a good idea, or I don't want to take part in this, you knew your audience and your
Yeah,
audience delivered for you what you thought, how they, how you expected them to, or maybe beyond what you expected them to.
yeah,
Um, and it is interesting because there's this sort of like elitism in like any, I think specifically in like entertainment and arts, but like maybe in any industry, probably in any industry, or like the ones at the top are meant to know the most. But in
yeah,
this new age of like where the barriers between the consumer and the creator and like the consumer and the product are more tangible or are more malleable than
yeah,
like you can do your own surveys. You can see exactly what the consumer wants and what the people are watching and what they like.
yeah,
You don't need, and maybe the ones that are at the top are a bit more out of touch than someone that is consistently every day making content
right,
and
right,
interacting with the market. Yeah, I mean it's I always think now like how, and I guess I think of like Timothy Chalamet as like someone that was able to make it in traditional media in a time where he also could have made it social media, but he didn't because he, you know what I mean? He's like younger than us. He's like obviously beautiful looking and he could have gone the social media route and like kind
yeah,
of, but he made it in traditional media the traditional way. Um,
hmm.
I don't know. It's just interesting to think about how different people are willing to go. And I don't know
I
what.
think going a social media route is so different than traditional, because traditional, like, you're acting, you are a part of a huge, there's 8 million people a part of what you're doing, and um versus social media. And social media is like dependent on who you are as a person. Like, it's just very different things. Like you can be a really great actor and terrible at social media. And I think we see that all the time. We see these actors like trying to pop in on social media and we're like, oh, you just don't get it. But
At Vin Diesel.
um not to anyone, but it's cute seeing them. It's
Yeah,
cute.
yeah, yeah.
But it's just like it's a different world.
Yeah, totally different world. And yeah, yeah, totally different world. And so I want to talk about this sort of these barriers that you're closing with your audience. So I know a lot of your videos you talk about like having ADD and like joking about
Oh
it,
yeah.
kind of attributing your personality to it. Um, so how is it being vulnerable with that part of you online to such a large audience?
ADD does not feel like a vulnerable thing to me, because it truly is such a part of my like everyday life and who I am. So to me, it's just like a part of my personality. Like it's not a weird thing to me to talk about. I can't talk about being sad. Like those are things that are really personal to me. I don't know how to talk about, and I can't talk about it online or in real. Like
Or
um
you're like, no one must
yeah,
know.
no, I need to go to therapist. But it's just like that didn't feel vulnerable, and things that do feel vulnerable, I don't talk about. Like me telling my audience that like I'm about to do a bunch of ads, and I know I shouldn't care, but I do care. So just letting you guys know, like the whole day I was like, was that weird of me to say? Like, it's okay that I said that, because I'm just so used to like always doing comedy and like everything's a bit. And I think sometimes people think they know what's going on in my life, but I'm like, you saw a 2-second bit of me doing something you truly know nothing about.
Mm,
But they feel like they do, which is awesome. But
yeah.
the reality of it is I know that my personal life is very personal to me.
Okay. So it seems like specifically with ADD, because it kind of adds into your comedy style and is a part of that part of your personality that you have kind of like capitalized on in, on social media, or like honed in on. Maybe capitalized isn't the right word, but like honed in on for your social media, presence. So that's not really being vulnerable. But if there's things that are outside of that persona, or that,
Mhm.
that selected part of your personality, it doesn't matter which angle there are, like you said, if there's sadness or whatever, but if it's, you're not comfortable sharing that, like if it doesn't kind of fit into this like comedy.
I guess not. Yeah, I think I guess not. Like, I don't share deep things. I don't like to. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I would. If it doesn't fit the character, the brand, I think. And I know there's been a few moments more recently in the past few months I've really tried working on myself with like showing them like my normal side, like my real side, because I don't know, I think it's good to do sometimes. Um and every time I do it, like it is so scary to me. Like afterwards, I'm just so nervous about it. I don't
Is
know
that
why.
is that something that's similar with you, just even offline, or is it like just specifically an online thing?
I can talk to if I am sad in real life, I keep to myself mostly, but like after the fact, I'm totally happy talking about it with my friends. And if I can articulate why, like fully articulate, like this is making me sad, but like beyond that, I'm sad because of this, and this is the root of it. So here's what I'm gonna do to change it. It's like if I know how I can change it, I'm happy to talk about it. And if I
Mhm.
know like the real root, I'm like, it's fine because this is the issue. So like let me just address that and like no one needs to worry. So if that does that make sense? Like I'm
Yeah.
happy to talk about why I'm sad if I know it's something that I can change.
Mhm.
Um, but online, I don't think I'd ever discuss that because I'm like, it's none of you guys know such a specific version of myself that it's not me, you know?
Mhm. It's not the me that you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that, and I think,
Yeah.
because it seems like, even with your close friends in your intimate life, that's like, I'll let you know what's going on when I've sort of processed it and come up with a solution for myself. So not really like, it's
Yeah.
more like a check-in, like, "Oh, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah." Like, "What's going on with
Just so
you?"
you guys know, I was sad last week, but like now I'm not. So like don't
No,
worry about it. But just so you
yeah.
guys know I was a little sad last
Yeah, yeah,
week.
no, exactly, versus like, like seeking advice or like trying to get an opinion,
Yeah.
kind of wanna sort it out yourself, which to me
I'll
makes
talk
me.
to my mom about it, but that's about it.
Yeah, okay, and that, assuming that's probably like one of the closest people in your life, if not the closest person.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think that, kind of makes sense when you think about social media. It's not like when you tell some, I mean, there are people that, they're like, "I was sad this time," or like, "And this is a reflection that I made, and this is the idea that I have, and this is where I'm gonna go forward." And like, usually at the end, it's just like, and you can do the same thing, like some sort of like positive message that comes out of it. But I feel like if you share that sort of personal part of yourself, there's no way you're not going to get opinions, even if you showed people that you already came up with a solution for whatever you were upset about. You're going to get a lot of feedback on what people think you should have done, or if they agree with you, or like how they would have gone through it. And it seems like maybe
Yeah.
you're not
And I
interested
just don't think it's healthy. Like I would imagine me sharing like the deepest, most vulnerable parts to 300,000 people cannot be good. Like we're not built for that. We're not made for that. There's no need for it. Like
in it. Hmm.
as much as people want, I don't know. Like if I see someone that comes up to me, like they recognize me to me, I'm like, they see me as a friend. They see me at my funniest moments. Um, they know the best version of myself, so I can be that for them in this moment. But if someone came up to me and I knew that they knew all of my hurts and like all this vulnerable shit about me, I would be like, I'm not that open in real life. So that would just be weird. That would be very weird for me to have someone come up to me knowing these things.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I totally see what you're saying. And would it also, it's like, because at you're sharing, to you it's like this one person with all these like nodes, that you're like these connections that you have for people kind of like tuning into you, but it's
Yeah.
not like you share, if you share like whatever personal detail you share about yourself and you're vulnerable, it's not like every one of those people is also sharing something vulnerable with you that there's a connection
Yeah.
made. It's just sort of one way.
It's like, you know something about me. Yeah, it's just weird, and, yeah, it's just that's not a direction I care to go, I wanna go, like, my friends know me for me, and my family knows me for me, and I love that, and I hope it stays that, like, my life is my life. My online life is my online life, but, like, those 2 are not the same, and, like, I hope they never like, I've met I hope this doesn't sound bad. If it does, just take it out. But like I've met people that like in the moment they're like, "Can we hang out? Like I love you, blah blah." And
Hmm.
like in the moment, I'm like, "Yeah, here's my number," because I would never like say no in person. But then I like will never let my 2 worlds collide. I'll like very much be like, online me, and I'm like so happy I get to be that and entertain you in that way. But I don't know. It's just it's very I have to keep the 2 separate for my own sanity because, like, my life is my life, and I love my life, and my online life is my online life, and I love my online life, but they're separate.
Yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense. It kind of goes with what we were saying before, like these kids that conflate the two, or like they're so interdependent, or like if
Mhm.
that suddenly what your identity is isn't determined by you anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and like that sounds really hard.
Yeah, I
um,
would imagine it. Yeah, that's scary.
and so it makes me think of not just like regular users, but like specifically social media influencers that like have platforms like that are like vloggers mainly, because I feel like they share their
Oh
daily
my
life.
gosh, yeah.
Like I think like Emma Chamberlain, like David Dobrik, um, specifically David Dobrik. I don't know how familiar you are with his content. I feel like everyone
I
is at least a little
love
bit.
those boys,
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you think, like, he's so much of his content is revolved around, it's like kind of the opposite of yours, where it's like not scripted typically, and it revolves around other people, where yours is
Mhm.
like typically scripted, revolves
All
just around
myself.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And
my world, they're just living in
yeah.
it.
um, and so what do you think about like, I don't know. If there was someone in your group of friends that consistently always had a camera, and like your whole friend group and your whole all your relationships were like for online media, like what do you think happens in those instances? Like how do you think those friendships are affected, or like how your daily life is affected that it could always like potentially be broadcasted?
Yeah. Um I would be scared. Like, I have a friend who he helps me do some brand deals because he is, like, one of my best friends and makes me so much funnier, and I just had, l this is so drama, I'm gonna say it, but I need to but don't put it in. I just had my attorney what would be a better way of saying my like, a lawyer? I just had my lawyer, like, write up a contract because, my biggest fear is mixing friends and work, and because I never want them to feel like I only am using them for this part of my life, and I would imagine being in that friend group is hard and scary and like the lines are blurred. And I think
Yeah.
David's even talked about it because he's been like, there was times I like wanted to buy my girlfriend something, but then like a brand would offer to buy her this, and it was like, I want to give this to her, but this brand is also offering, so I have to record it, but like I actually want to give this to you. And it was like I remember him talking about it, and I think when it's like that vulnerable, your whole life is blurry, and even I feel it to a certain extent where it's like I'm in a moment with friends and an idea comes up and it's like, do I post it or do I keep this moment with my friends? Like I'm about to be with my family and they're like their biggest thing is like, Courtney, no, don't post anything. Like family time is for family time, and like we don't like you posting about things that we're doing because like it's for us. And like the minute you put it out there, now it's not a memory between us.
Hmm.
So I would imagine the lines are blurry for it has to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it seems difficult. I feel like there was a point in time where I really wanted to like work with David Dobrik and like intern with him.
Yeah.
Um because I'm just fascinated by all of it. But then I was thinking, what if like we became friends? I hopefully, you know, I'm like, I want to be friends with you guys, but like
Yeah.
you become friends. And then I'm like, what if you start coming into the videos and like you start recording your videos? Like how do you act for the camera? And then how, like, if you continually keep acting that way, how much does it start actually just being who you are?
Yeah, I think, like, every person in their group kind of has a character role, like, each person has a personality, and they've almost, like, created a character for themselves,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I it's
I don't,
everything is always a heightened version of yourself, you know? And
yeah.
so, they kind of have this heightened version of themselves character, and I wonder if it's, like, I don't know, I've never been around him when he's filming or been around him. So, I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm about to film, jump in character. And even if they don't realize that like they're acting,
Mm.
they're, heightening it up a little bit. And I would imagine it being kind of hard.
Do you ever think about like having doing something similar, like when you're saying you're with your friends and you think of a bit and like kind of, be like, oh, like help me out with this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
keep it small. There's some nights I can tell like my friend like will be in the mood for it, so I can like push it and be like, okay, let's do this. Like, no, we can do it funnier. Like, let's. And he loves it just as much as I do. And my two closest friends out here, like we have fun with it, and I make sure they're having fun. But if there's ever like a moment that's funny, sometimes I'll be like, do you guys mind if I film this? Can we redo it? And it'd be like so funny. And if I can tell they're like, yeah, that's fun to do it again and like to get to make people laugh with this bit we just came up with, that's great. But if it's like a moment where we're just like being us, then I'll try to keep it just that. Or
Yeah.
I'll ask them for permission. And then, or if I make something, I like show them, be like, are you guys okay if I post this? Like I make it very like clear, like you're my friend first.
Hmm. Yeah. I I feel like I've tried to dabble into vlogging and I've
Hmm.
tried to dabble into every little thing there and I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah,
But
but good for you. I am scared to do anything beyond what I'm doing, so
I
good
mean,
for
it's
you.
working for you. So it's like, I would, yeah. But with vlogging, something because like I said, I used to live in New York. And so I was like, yeah, like I live in New York, like I can just like,
Who wouldn't want to see this?
yeah, who wouldn't want to see this glorious life I live? Like
Hmm.
paying a lot of money to live in a shoebox and have rats.
Yeah,
But like, I would like turn the camera on or like start recording something and I would realize people just like freeze.
change.
They
Yeah,
change and they get so uncomfortable. Um, to the point where I'm like, y'all aren't funny, but obviously I'm like, okay, I've just changed the vibe. Like we were hanging
yeah.
out and now something is completely different and I'm responsible, but it's like this uncomfortable feeling. Like the
I
phone,
may have caused this. Yeah,
yeah, like the phone is just like something, it's like another actor that's brought in, but it's not just one, it's like the endless possibility of all these people, I guess.
yeah. And it's just like, I think that's why I don't mind doing bits with my friends because like they know this is gonna happen. I'm gonna point the camera to you. You're gonna look this way, and then you do this, and then we have fun doing it because it like was a moment in real life that we turned into like a scripted thing,
Hmm.
or it was like a thing where I'm like, okay, wouldn't this be a funny bit if like this and this happened, or like someone else will come up with it. And it's like it feels like an organic way to make something that no one feels pressure to like have themselves turned on.
Yeah.
But I think it is hard to like have a natural moment and then be like, okay, the camera's coming out, everyone act because you're thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Even and I mean, I felt something with like recreating something, maybe it's just like my own insecurity, but this idea that I don't know if it's like many people feel this or if it's like, I don't know, whatever. This idea that trying to make something for other people to like feels weird to me sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's a hard mindset to keep up. I think it's easier to kind of be like, this was really funny to me and my friends, and I
Yeah.
want to like put this out there. And if someone enjoys it, hell yeah. If not, sorry, my bad. Just wasted
Yeah.
10 seconds of your life.
Yeah. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I guess there's like this new um And maybe it's like when we were growing up, this idea where like you want to fit in, but trying to fit in isn't cool.
You wanted to fit, yeah. Well, people like read through it now. Online, like if someone is trying too hard, people like this person tries too hard. Like I'll get it sometimes, and I'm like, I cannot tell you how. Like it's just that people will be like, I feel like you're trying too hard now, and it's always something that people feel.
But it's just so weird that's why I think it's just odd. Like when people are like, you're trying too hard. I'm like, people are trying hard. That is what
Oh yeah,
it's for, right? Like you're not just like nonchalantly trying to like created this huge following, whatever. You know what I mean? Like you have to be trying
yeah.
hard. Like that's part of it. If you start being lazy, people also aren't going to follow you.
Yeah, in the beginning, I like played so hard into like, I don't know, I'm just like small town girl. I just made this Instagram and I'm blowing up. Like, it's really just like the life chose me. I didn't choose the life. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
work hard at this. And now I'm like, no, you work hard at this and it never turns off. It's a 24/7. It's always in your brain. You're always
Yeah.
thinking about it. Yeah, it's hard work.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of hard work. It's there are jobs a lot harder than what we're doing. It's a different kind of like um I don't know, it's a different push.
Yeah, I mean, just even the fact that it doesn't turn off, that it's a 24-hour job is like really different than any sort of traditional job
Yeah.
at all. You can leave and do whatever you want, but with this, it's kind of always on your mind.
Yeah, and I'm always like, oh God, like I think there were before I took that 10-day break, I don't think I didn't post on my story for 3 years. And
Like every
one
day, you
day,
mean?
every day. And there was a stretch there for a year where I was like, I have to make new material for my story every single day because I like that was really where I was like committed to comedy. And I was like, I'm going to pursue comedy. I need to learn my voice. I need to learn how to get better. And my favorite place to do that is like on my stories where I get to play with comedy, try different bits, and like get such immediate feedback.
Hmm.
Like 50,000 people see it and they respond, and like where else can you get that kind of like
Yeah, that
interaction,
market research.
Yeah, like, and there's people aren't liking it. I'm like, okay, people don't like when I go this direction. Let's try it this way. Like, it's so much fun to me to play around on there. And I did it for a year, and like it got to the point where like I would go to bed and be like, I felt so exhausted, and I was like, what happens if I wake up tomorrow and I truly have reached that? Like, I truly cannot think of anything else. Like, and I would go to bed and I like wake up and be like, please just give me a good idea. Like, I need something. Like, it was the only thing that I was like thinking about and was like trying to pull from. And I like look back at that stories and I'm like, oh, this is bad. Like I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know why the hell I even thought this was good to post. But like it's different. It was good. I needed that year and now I don't put as much pressure, but it can get crazy.
So when you mean like, I look back at that and I'm like, oh, what was I thinking? Or not what was like, oh, that was bad. You mean like the specific content or like the consistent posting and feedback was bad?
The feedback wasn't I do remember there was one day where I like knew that's the dumbest story. And someone was like, and I was like, are you okay? Like, you don't seem okay. And I was like, looking back, I'm like, no, I was not okay. I was going insane. The comedy was bad. The feedback wasn't terrible. I think people are really kind and they're happy to go along with the ride. And I think at this point, they like, no one knows what to expect, but they know like not to expect anything. So they're happy for I just have a really sweet following that's like there for the growth and all of it. So um the feedback's really never too bad. And if I get like more than 2 or 3 comments about something I posted, I usually like I'm like, okay, this is something I need to like really reflect on.
Okay. Um,
I don't know if I
so
answered that question.
yeah, so I feel like I need to I clarify it a little bit. I guess I meant more like when you said, "Oh, this is bad." Do you mean like continually getting feedback? Not necessarily that the feedback is bad, but like continually
Oh,
getting feedback so quickly is bad and wasn't good for you, or that like just certain things you posted, you were like, "Oh yeah, that was bad. Like I know that's bad. I want to
what I
fix it."
posted was bad.
Okay.
Um, don't think I do wish I could. No, I love feedback. That's my favorite thing of the whole thing. So, no, I don't think I would ever look back at something, even if it's bad, it's good.
Yeah, because you learned
Not
from
that
it.
all, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't believe like all press is good press. I think that you can always learn from it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about empathy and
Okay.
redemption. And I know this is a little bit of a swift shift, but just kind of brought it up in my mind when you said like you have a sweet audience and kind of like there for the growth and like, I guess that makes me think a little bit more empathetic. Like they're with you. They're not just like you're making things just for us and like
Yeah.
you're making things for yourself and for yourself to grow. Um, so where do you think empathy kind of lies in the digital world and the online world?
I think it lies with like the audience you create. I think like because hopefully I like think I'm a very understanding person and I like really love people. And so I hope that like through my comedy, that's like understood, or I hope to God that's like portrayed. And I think like it's kind of like the person you are, the kind of people you attract in real life. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the same goes online. Like if I were a judgy person, I'd probably create an audience that's pretty judgy. And so I hope that like my audience is like me. And I really do believe that they are just from my experience with them. TikTok is a little different, but on Instagram, I really do like just have like when someone comes up to me, like as much as it isn't myself, like I do have a heart for them because I'm like, you guys, I don't know, like we're both trying to find something funny to laugh at. I'm going way off of your question, but I just think it's like you attract the audience that you are and the
Yeah.
stuff you put out.
Okay, yeah. So different, yeah, different take on empathy, but it's like that is kind of empathy, like people getting
Well,
um
I think if I wasn't like my empathy with my audience is only going to be as much as I put out,
yeah.
so let me make sure I'm understanding the word empathy right.
Um
Okay, wait, can you ask this question again without the word empathy? Hang on.
yeah. We'll redo
The
it.
ability to understand and share feelings of another. Okay, yes, I think it's like I if you get what you put out, that's my final answer. And I think
Okay.
the empathy of your audience is only as strong as the empathy that you've shown and given them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, totally. So it kind of reverberates back to you. What you put out is kind of the
Yeah,
audience you end
unless
up
you're at like a
getting.
Charlie D'Amelio level. TikTok is a little different. Like my audience grew very quick. Um, it's more virality. You're not like you're just seeing people that you don't even know. So like sometimes my audience is a little bit different on there than like what I'm used to on Instagram. But I think I've gotten to like grow with my audience on Instagram. So there's more empathy there.
Okay. And so I first discovered your account on TikTok, but did you start on TikTok
Okay.
or did you start on Instagram?
No, I've been on Instagram for like 4 years. TikTok only like since quarantine.
So,
And a lot of the material on TikTok is really just things I posted on Instagram over the past 4 years, and I just put it on TikTok.
oh,
Forget
okay.
about it. I go back on, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even realize I did so well.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
funny.
So with your Instagram the past 4 years, it's always been, what do you call it, like a professional Instagram?
Like it never was a personal one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started it for the character average fashion blogger, and it
Okay.
really was rooted in like making fun of fashion bloggers. I like made it to make fun of myself with my outfits and pretend to be a fashion blogger. And it's like definitely grown since then into something else, but that was like the root of it.
Okay. So let's talk about the average fashion blogger title and just like the specific type of content you make. Um, so like you said, you're doing it to make fun of fashion bloggers. There's some videos where you do a smoky eye look with literally like ash from a cigarette. And like the outfit of the days that you're talking about, the same outfit every single day, that kind of Corona vibe that you had in some of your videos. Why is it specifically these types of content creators or this category that you like to poke fun at or that you decided to kind of parody?
It's it started really that I was like just making fun of myself and my outfits. And then once I had created more videos and an audience, I like realized I was like, oh, I didn't realize like so many people because I never really was like affected by bloggers or like compared myself to them just because I just never I'm like, that's so stupid. But and then when I started making it getting feedback and like people DMing me being like, I can't believe like you're such a breath of fresh air against all these people, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize people were actually like doing this. I didn't know people needed that, like, a place to laugh about it with. And so then it kind of like really dove into making fun of just like the stereotypical blogger. And then I think then it's just kind of been like a place where people can like laugh at themselves, laugh at life, and like find the funny in everything. And I think it's really straight away from just like fashion blogging stuff.
Yeah. So is there like, I mean, I feel like the main two sectors are like fashion and beauty that you sort of that you parody that are, majority female industries. Is that
Mhm.
something that you think of as well? Like they're, I don't know, like your relationship with these females in these industries, or is it more the industries and not really the creators that you're kind of parodying?
I think it's more of just like, because I mean, every person doesn't feel like they fit in like any of those like high end categories or anything. So it's just kind of like diving more into like those honest feelings. I don't think it's necessarily like making fun of, um it's more just like showing the reality of like the way we feel and like the relatability in that.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say my intention is to ever like really make fun of a person or an industry. It's really just to be like, at the end of the day, we actually feel this way about it. And I think we all know
Okay. Yeah, so just sort of showing the flip side of like
that.
the
Yeah.
actual person watching, not just like this 5% that kind of makes up the tier of these industries.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I think um that's definitely something that people can kind of rally behind, this sort of, even like in the title, the average fashion blogger, like the average person.
Mhm.
Um is that like, I don't know. Is that like kind of your, like, if you had to champion something, if you had to champion a group of people or like a mantra, like, is that kind of what you would go for? Is there a little bit different?
What do you mean by that?
Like, um, so how you're presenting maybe the average person's idea, or like the average fashion blogger, the average person that do when they see these videos of fashion bloggers or beauty bloggers or whatever it may be. Um, I guess like what's your message? Like what is
Oh, probably just like really we're just trying to laugh. Like life is like I think really at the end of the day we just need to laugh and like life feels serious, but it really isn't that serious. So I think that would be like the main thing I'm trying to get across. And like everything's laughable, even like moments that I didn't think I could laugh at. Like something will go off in my head and be like, oh fuck, that would be funny. And then I'll make it and I'll be like, oh, that was crazy. I didn't know I could laugh at this situation, you know?
mhm.
And then
So
like helps me find the funny in things.
yeah. Okay, cool. And so like making fun, not necessarily making fun, but finding light
The
of
funny and
situations.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. So what do you think people value now? What do you think people value now? Like,
I think they value talent. I hope. Um like being really perfect. No I'm kidding. I think they value like a good heart and they value feeling like they could be your friend or like um they value laughing. I don't know.
I know it's kind of a odd question.
No, you're fine, you're fine. I probably just like good people they can get behind. That's what I value. Like I value someone that I can like really be watch them and be like proud of them and excited for them and happy for them and watch their stuff and be like, I know that they care.
Yeah. Yeah. So not necessarily just the personality, but the actual like core of a person.
Yeah, I think so.
Because like you can be, I guess, like not a very ethical or moral person, but have like a good personality.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I'm trying to think. Yeah, there are some people I follow that like are funny, but I don't really enjoy who they are as a person. And like I'll like laugh at their stuff, but sometimes it mm, sometimes like I'll watch their content and be like, it's just not that funny because I don't really like them as a person,
Okay,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. I mean,
And like I'm sure people do that to me too, you know?
yeah. I mean, sometimes depending on the content, especially, I mean, even with social media, I think especially with social media, it's hard to separate those two sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, or at least for the viewer to see or to understand it as such. Okay. Um, so like on that vein of, I guess, like ethical or moral people, I don't, you said like a good person, so I don't know, or like a good heart. I don't know if moral ethical is becoming a little bit too like intense with that
Yeah.
definition, but I think the first thing that reminds me of it kind of going along with cancel culture, but like redemption, like this idea of redemption and like can someone that does something negative or does something bad be redeemed? Like, do people? And I'm talking more specifically just in these digital online spaces.
Right.
Um, do people, because people don't fully know these people, even how much they think that they may, and someone does something negative, you've seen people just turn on
Yeah.
on these influencers, on these social media influencers. But do you think that like, I don't know, like where do you think redemption, like how redemption works in these online communities,
Oh
especially because
gosh.
this, I feel like these online users are so young as
So
well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I
Yeah.
really don't know. I think I it's so scary, and I think I hope that cancel culture can move to a place of like encouraging people to learn and grow and more like an educated education culture, I guess.
Yeah.
And if they can prove that they have like learned, I mean, I made a video a few years ago and it was out of line and I was called out for something that I should have been called out for that I didn't know I was doing wrong. And it like took a hit and I, really was like put in my place. And it was like very hard, but it is like I am so grateful and thankful that it happened in every aspect. Because I think what I learned from it is so much is so like I'm so happy that I learned everything I did. Um, and so I think there is so much good to happen with, calling people not calling people out in the right way, and helping someone and being like, this is what you should do instead. And but I think obviously cancel culture is terrible. And I redemption is really fucking hard and really scary. And I don't think you should never come back the same because you are supposed to learn.
Mhm.
But um I don't know. I think it just depends on the person and what it is and the situational.
I think, yeah, I think also I feel like sometimes with people with like these big platforms, the idea that in order to get redemption is to, I don't know, sometimes it's to apologize, but often it like you just have to a lot of the time explain yourself, and maybe for things that people, if people cancel you for something that you didn't do wrong but people understand it as such, like the first thing that comes to mind is like the James Charles situation. That was this whole, do you remember that? It was like maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
With Tati.
Yeah, with Tati and like
Yeah.
where the whole thing that happened online, and then people just like, he lost like millions of followers, like I think like 2 or 3 million followers, and then the only way for him to get redemption was to air out everything, and for him to have to
He
defend.
had to make like a hour-long video of being like, this is the whole story. I think the fact that people gave him that much time is insane. I think I'm glad that he got a chance to be like, this is the true story.
Yeah.
And I think it's really rare for people to have that much time to be like, listen to me,
Hmm.
you know. I'm happy that he had that many people invested in it to listen to his story.
Yeah, that's a really great point, because people write you off. It doesn't seem often that they like want to go back and hear your side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
a rare situation. Like, I mean, people wrote him off so fast, and then people were willing to listen to what he had to say, and thank God, because he was right. But like, that's rare.
Yeah. Yeah, that is. I mean, not just thinking how you're saying like the time invested. I mean, I watched every single one of those videos. The
Oh
first one, the
yeah,
second one, the
we
first
would.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd like wait until nighttime until like everyone could be there, and you'd all watch it together and be like, oh my God, yeah, it was
Yeah.
entertainment. But
Yeah.
holy shit, he was fighting for his life, and like we, I'm so glad people like we watched it.
Yeah. And I'm
You're
glad
fighting
that,
for your career.
yeah. And yeah. And that's something that's really crazy too with like this with redemption, where it's like, I don't know, like if you have another job and you get fired from a firm, maybe you do something like unethical or like even like emotionally charged and it like, you know what
Right.
I mean, comes off the wrong way, it's inappropriate, whatever. Fine. You go, you leave, maybe you move. If it's really bad, you work somewhere else. But
Yeah.
like in this industry, in the social media industry, it's like it
Game
is,
over.
yeah, it's done. Like you have to like do something completely different and likely everyone will know who you are anyways.
Yeah.
Um yeah, which I think is just insane. Like that's what I think is makes me nervous about redemption is that I don't know how I would like to think it's possible. I think just as a life thing, I don't think if like what's it all for if you can't be redeemed, like it's just difficult. And for me as both someone that does things wrongs and have had that as a normal person that does things wrong and have had things done wrongly to them, redemption is
Yeah.
solace on both ends. um but I don't know, it seems hard to have to continually, or maybe not continually, but like have to defend yourself all the time for every little thing that happens. Like when this whole, when Black Lives Matter really like kickstarted a few months ago after George Floyd's death. And it seemed like like, obviously like all the protests and things that were, really good and like kind of unified a lot
Yeah.
of people. But it also came with like this attack on creators and social media personalities and people digging through everything to be like, you don't support this or you're not this person because,
Right.
you said this thing or this thing. And led to like this real like plethora of apologies in order for
Yeah.
people, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on it are I think it's important to stand up for what's right. I don't think I don't expect anyone doing it to be perfect at it. And I think that's where things get blurred.
Yeah.
I think that was a moment where everyone was learning. And if you like learned that you had done something wrong in the past,
Hmm.
huh, I want to make sure I'm like wording this right because it's
Yeah.
scary even just like talking about it. But I think it was a little weird because it like out of nowhere there I saw people like feeling pressure to be this activist and they were like, I'm not an activist. Like I don't know how to talk about this stuff. And I that was something that I was learning too, is like where my how do I want to go about this topic? Like to me it's important to tell people these are really cool things that I learned and these are important things that I learned, and to share that I do have like on Instagram. I started in Oklahoma when I lived there. A lot of my followers are white. And I was like, it is so important for me that I put this stuff that I'm learning to my audience because I don't know if they're following other people that are putting this information in their head. So to me, I felt some form of responsibility where I was like, I'm getting to learn all this stuff and it, it would be wrong of me to not share it. So that's the way I saw it. Um, and I mean, I don't know if there's a right or wrong way. I just knew like that was the way I felt responsible. But I don't know how other people felt about it. I think it was almost like when um, the Me Too movement went around and then all these men had their tail between their legs. And then all these people that had done something wrong in the past,
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
totally.
I would imagine it. Yeah, I don't know. I I got um a big like slap from that video, and that was really where I like realized the weight of like my stuff, and like by not being educated I can really hurt someone, and so that's kind of where my journey began. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Um, it's, yeah, I think comparing it to the Me Too movement too, where it's like, I think th- there was so much of like, I don't know, like men suddenly having, like feeling the need to defend themselves like prematurely sometimes. And I'm wondering if, similar how you're saying with these people that weren't activists felt like they need to be activists because of this platform that they, I guess, had, or like these followers that they had. And I don't know, it makes me feel like people kind of like asking for redemption or asking for like absolution before they can be proven wrong or before they can be charged as guilty.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't know, does that just come like with an audience, or I mean, does that come just with the does that come only with an audience?
I
Does that
don't
come when
know.
just like a social media age? Like I felt maybe, something similar where you didn't want to be proven wrong or bad, even if you didn't think that you were or are.
Yeah, I don't I don't know. I think it um I would imagine from a viewer standpoint, if I cared about someone and I saw that they weren't fighting for something that was so important, is so important, and vocalizing it, I would be like, I hope that person aligns with my values. And so I think that was more of a like way to like make sure that your creators align with yourself,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, for me, I was doing it because I felt a responsibility to like learn and grow and help my followers also learn and grow.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's what it came down to. I don't, it was so weird. It was like the first time I think everyone had to step up and like speaking on a political, no, no, it wasn't political, on an issue. Um, it was the first time a lot of people were doing it, and it was scary, but I think it was like called for, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was such a big civil rights issue, both of these things. And like both of these movements. And I think you're right. It was like there's really rallying time for people, especially like younger users, or this is the first time you can actively take part of a movement at this scale.
Yeah.
Um, and I think,
Oh, it was so crazy seeing like all these young kids learning their voice so early. Like I'm
yeah.
24 and I just now I'm getting comfortable with saying like this is wrong, this is right, and I believe in this, and I want to tell someone why I believe in this to hopefully get someone else to see the right, see what I'm seeing, you know?
Mhm.
And I mean some of these kids are 10 years old and they're like so comfortable, and I mean I think it's so cool to see.
Yeah.
It is a little bit sad that they're like 10 years old and they're, learning about that the world isn't great.
Right.
Um, but it's cool to see them so young and like have learned how to be like vocal about something that they believe so strongly about.
Yeah, that's I took like I guess I'm about to finish it, but I took a psych class. I'm at like just a psych 101 class, and I'm an online course. And so majority of the kids, it's like a freshman course. So they're all like 18, they're like Gen Z.
Yeah. Oh, so
Um
interesting.
yeah, and so it was just interesting hearing their thoughts and their comments on things. And there was stuff that like it kind of goes both ways, but it was like they would point out like, oh, like I don't know, like that's kind of whack that like this and this, or like why didn't they just like pointing out like issues of race and ableism and sex and like sexual orientation and like gender and all these sort of big topics that like
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't really understand how they interplayed with anything until I was in college and I like studied
Yeah.
it. Um
Yeah.
and they just kind of that was just like the world that they wanted and expected, and like
Yeah.
would critique if it wasn't that way,
Yeah.
um, which is really cool. And like to see this like generate these generational values, um, but it also can come to a fault where you think everything is black and white, and like that's something that I feel like continually, no matter how old you grow, you want things to fit into black or white, to right or wrong, to yes or no,
Yeah,
and it's just not that way. That's just not how life is.
yeah,
And as you get older, you realize that more. But when you're at such a young age, that's not what you think, or even think that there is this middle ground. And maybe it's different, like how you're saying, like maybe they've gotten older, they've matured a lot more because of this, their access to internet and social networks. So that's something that I kind of get nervous about. I'm like, I don't want them to be like, that's racist, or like that's sexist, or like that's this or that's this, without really
mhm,
like knowing that things can be in between, and that things aren't always as they seem, and there's like so much more to learn about these huge topics, that you can't just like label something as one thing without, you know what I mean?
yeah.
All right, everyone, thanks so much for listening. Thank you, Courtney, for being here and sharing your insights and letting us
Thank
know
you for
about your
having me.
world. Loved it.
Thank you.
Yes. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us. And Courtney, I would love for you to just have the last word, whatever you want to say to our listeners.
Um, Wait, what was that last part? I was reading it.
You can say whatever you would like. I'd love for you to have the last word. So anything you want to leave with the listeners.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for listening to this. And then I guess just know that social media isn't real life, and put your worth in like the person that you are in real life. And that none of that shit, online shit does not matter. It's all for fun. So love
Awesome.
you.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.